Egypt is a good place to invest, first of all, because it's a big market. It's a big local market. It's a good geographical location. You have good people, and the costs are competitive. So it's a great place. It was, it is, and it will be a great place to invest.
Welcome back again to our show, Money Means Business. And we have with us our guest, Professor Said Al-Khouli and Dr. Hassan Shafai with us here. And we're starting, as usual, just the different developments taking place on local scene before we just tackle anything. Dr. Shafai, what do you think of the changes that are taking place and so far the achievements of the government?
You mean the last changes?
No. Well, the last changes, hasn't. Well, nothing's changed. I mean, just generally, yeah.
I am personally very optimistic since really the June, since our new president started.
Yes.
I'm very optimistic, and I'm very fond of his moves.
Yes.
Actually, he surrounded himself with a good group of people who are collecting the right informations and advising him in the right directions. And this is really the route to success. So I really expect, of course, we still only 7 months ago we started, and we're facing a lot of problems.
Of course.
If we look on the ground right now, we see really serious problems, and the media make most of our Egyptian citizens unhappy and not optimistic, because if you watch the TV or the paper every day, there are terrorism, outside terrorism, internal terrorism, bombs everywhere, shortage of energy, shortage of electricity, and so on, so on, so on. So we really focus on that very much in the media, and we don't focus, unfortunately, on the positive parts, which is very clear. It is there. It is there. Just go a little bit in the back and see, when in 2011, when we started the revolution and the security, we all sit in front of our houses, and we were completely insecure, and nobody can produce or even think when he's insecure.
Yes.
Okay, and I think nowadays we are secure.
Yes.
Maybe not 100%, but very, very close. So there are a lot of progress in all directions. When I talk about the economy, I think there are a lot of progress as well. I think we have seen a lot of progress in the military moves. So generally speaking, I'm optimistic and I'm happy so far for what's happening.
Well, speaking about the changes, actually, we talked about right now the changes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we were just waiting for the reshuffle. We've been talking about it. Somehow they would talk about that for some time, but suddenly, like people just started, like we were talking about parliamentary elections, and then talking about the upcoming summit. But then, there was the sudden reshuffle took place, or let's say changes in the cabinet.
That's a new style of management. We have a leader who believes in change, first of all, and whatever who's in the government, and he said it very clear. If it's not anyone not going to keep up with the speed of our vision, he or she should step out. If you are not going to step out by yourself,
willingly, then it will be unwillingly.
That is the message, and it's a clear.
Is this the message, or is it like for the first period that those efforts of those people were needed?
The message where nobody expect days before the economic summit any change will be done in the government. That is the leadership style.
Yes.
Leadership style, this man, he have a vision for the future. He means good for Egypt.
Yes.
And all he care about is simply working very hard for the sake of the Egyptian people. And if anyone in the government, whether it's minister, whether it's a governor or whatever, any public official, not going to keep the speed up with him, out. That is the message.
Yes.
Whether we have an economic summit in days, no, he made the decision. And it is a message for all people willing to work in public office. The return in public office is not so high now, but the loyalty and the dedication for economic development in Egypt, that is the message. And hopefully with this change, people will work harder and harder in order to keep up things going. As my colleague mentioned, the security issue. For the last 7 months, we don't have a real security. We don't feel safe in our home, our streets, in our borders. So he made the decision, change the Minister of Interior. And that is a big message. Look what happened in France. An incident happened, never happened again. One incident. It became a daily routine in our life. To hear there is a bomb over here, bomb over there. That's not good for the economic development. That is not good message for the foreign direct investment. They will come to invest in Egypt.
Yes.
And that is the message he sent. I believe the president have a vision not for his own sake, but for Egypt and for the Egyptian people.
Yes.
That is a good message.
Yes. And so, concerning the changes and these things taking place, well, we talked about, talk was going on about parliamentary elections, and well, with the changes taking place, and you think they'll be held because there's like a ruling of court that like people just understood as there are no elections, parliamentary elections taking place, and the picture is not very clear. How do you think this will go?
Well, I think we were waiting for the elections for the parliament so they can change the government as well.
Yes.
But usually this has happened after the election of the parliament. And after the court decided this is what people spawn, I think if we talk about leaders again, you give an assignment to a minister, and he is only doing 40% of what he should be doing. And there are a big summit, economic summit coming, and we want to tell all the world, not because only the summits, but of course it will follow these summits, a lot of promotions to Egypt.
Yes.
We want to tell everybody from our partners in the Gulf areas and the Middle East, our partners in Europe and all over the world, we want to send them a message very clear that we are really serious about making this country successful. I think this is really, I agree with the professor. This is a message. We are very serious to make this country workable.
Yeah.
We are not going to really sleep for a lot of years and then analyze our officials because if I'm in charge of a government, I should really know who's working and who's not. And remember, there are some ministries, they have problems.
Yes.
But they didn't change. Why? Simply because the head of these ministers worked very hard, make a lot of analysis and make a lot of solutions and react. To give you an example of that, Ministry of Electricity. Everybody were unhappy, but all of a sudden They are working so hard in a lot of details and a lot of professionalism, and they're finding a solution. And that's what it should be, because we should not really just put, our ambitious note should be go to the sky. We should have our limit, and we should really know our objectives, identify it very well, and go for it. And if we cannot really reach it, then something wrong.
You tackled a very important point, the role of the media here. Well, we have media abroad that portrays events here in a way that does not really portray the truth, whether out of ignorance or lack of understanding of the situation in Egypt, the nature of the people, or a certain agenda they are following. But also we have, internal media that are just messing the psychology with just, is it on purpose, with, not on purpose, out of ignorance. There should be reforms again, I mean, what's going on and how do you see it?
My opinion, I think we're really doing unprofessional work when it comes to the media.
Yes, written media, televised.
Why? The common citizen has to really keep listening to the TV hours a day, yes, talking politics and talking parliaments. I mean, what is really the needs of the people? The needs of the people is economy. The need of the people, he need to know if he can find a job, if the prices will be staying the same, no inflations, if he can have a house, if his son or daughters will find a job. That's their needs. That's what we should be concentrating about.
Yes.
Yes.
Either that or make an entertainment to the people. But psychologically, I don't see the points for really killing the citizen for 10, 12 hours a day.
Bombarding them.
But talking politics, which most of the people, by the way, doesn't understand. We just make them angry, completely depressed.
Yes.
I'm not sure if that's, that's intentionally, but that's unprofessionally. Why our media, why our information is not covered abroad? Unfortunately, because we've been divided. A lot of Egyptians talking different way abroad, and the media abroad talk to the officials and talk to the private people as well. So I think we need to be a little bit mature than we are now. We're hurting our country. I mean, we can have our difference, but with a luxury way, with a culture way. But we don't really take our difference and go make our fights abroad. And let the media abroad criticizing us. And if we're asking them why you're criticizing us, they say, well, this is your people.
Yeah, I did not, get it from, I did not come up with it.
So we're hurting our country. I think this is a message to the intellectual Egyptians who are living abroad or who are traveling abroad.
Does it intellectuals, quote unquote?
Yeah, because they are not all in the media business. Yeah, intellectual. But, please, be careful. This is your country. Don't hurt it.
Thank you. Well, for that, I hope they just get the message. If they're not doing it intentionally or they by ignorance, how do you think the problem emanates from in our media? Is it intentional, or some of the people who talk abroad to the media might be certain groups that mean to talk to or just create bad publicity for Egypt? Could be intentional, could be unintentional.
Let me start with your first question. You talked about the parliament, which is a very important issue.
Yes.
When we define government,
yes,
it has 3 branches. And we have one branch of the legislative system in Egypt, which is the parliament. And of course, that is a message for investors. In order to have foreign direct investment, some part of our institution is not established yet, which is the legislative branch, the House of Parliament, and that is, before we issue a law, look for the negative of this law before you mention, before you set a date. You should go with all these legislative people to make sure the law of election, it has no defect, or it doesn't have any downside of it. And delaying the election, that's not a strong message or not a positive message.
But many people felt relief when this happened.
In the local level. Here we're talking about foreign direct investment. We need to attract business to Egypt, and for government, not the Egyptian government, for other government, for outside investor coming to invest here, not from the Arab country, worldwide, they look for the legislative branch to be established. And if this delay, it will delay the process of investment. That's one side. The media, it's our fault. It's not really, if you take a look at American TV, for example, or European TV, they bring the bad news, not the good news. And if you take a look at ABC or NBC, you look for the crime, you see it the first in the news, and that's what makes news. But it's our problem. Why? Because for the Arab country, they don't have a voice. We speak with each other here in Egypt, in the local media. We should really talk to the people outside of Egypt. The decision, we don't make the decision. We are a very small part in making the world decision. So in order to bring your message outside, the people in the States, they don't watch us. They don't watch us. The people in Europe, they don't watch us.
Yes.
They hear and they see only one channel.
Their media.
Right? Their channels and other channel which is not supporting the point of view of the Egyptian government. And for the Egyptian who live abroad, they have no interaction except this kind of channels. We've been talking about that for the last 25 years. We have the money, we have the resources. I'm talking about the Arab country. Naguib Sawiris just got Euronews, which is a very major step forward to get our message outside of our regional space. And that is the role of the government. The role of the Arab League is to unite in order to introduce our point of view. Remember, the Arab country, most of it divided now. Look what happened in Libya. Look what happened in Iraq. Look what's taking place right now in Syria, in Yemen. I can count many countries. They have division now. And that is not good for the unity of the Arab League.
Yeah.
And our voice is not really translated to the people outside of Egypt. All the debate taking place inside, we speak the same language. We should speak with different language. The people in the government, for political affairs, for media, they should really make a different strategy in order to speak to the outside world.
Yeah, thank you. We'll just shift now to Sharm el-Sheikh, but first we'll have a break and then we'll come back and go into the conference.
Why invest in the Egyptian stock market now? The Egyptian Stock Exchange is one of the oldest stock markets established in the Middle East. The Egyptian Stock Exchange traces its origins to 1883, when the Alexandria Stock Exchange was established, followed by the Cairo Stock Exchange in 1903. "2014 is one of the best years for the Egyptian bulls. The Egyptian bourse won the award for the most advanced and innovative African bourse in 2014. Egypt, the future. Why invest in the Egyptian stock market now? Egypt, the future. Egypt Economic Conference in Sharm el-Sheikh from the 13th till the 15th of March 2015.
We're back again and moving now to the summit taking place in Sharm el-Sheikh. So you said we should know our objectives and just point them out. Do we know our objectives, like preparing for this summit?
Yes, I think let me talk about this economic summit, and I think this is one of the subjects we should be optimistic, or why we are optimistic. To start with, personally, I think we should not make this summits that soon. But the leader made the decisions, and that was a very brave decision. With all the problems we're facing, which is number one, the security, he made the decisions. This is the leadership, okay? Because he knows to turn this country around, you need really to give a good injections to the economy. And to get a good injections to the economy, it's only one way to go, to have new opportunities, new jobs. To get new opportunities and new companies and new investments, both locally and internationally. During the last few years, unfortunately, quite a few foreign investors pull their funds and get out. So we are now to send a message to promote Egypt, to attract the people, and to give them a real successful stories.
Yes.
I think, I've been in the business in Egypt for years and years. I think it is the first time I see so sophisticated study for the projects. They've done their homeworks very well. I was in a conference about energy a few days ago, and the professionalism and the skilled people who made this study, and they got all the know-how from everybody in the world. And this is all transferred to ideas, to figures, to projects, and introduce and promote to the investors. Of course, everybody should know that this paper or this project is not only introduced in the conference or in the summits, it's been sent to a lot of countries before. So, in fact, a lot of meetings in the summits will be to sign. So, in the summit, we have made a good promotion. We have collected a very good size projects with a lot of professional feasibility study. Just take examples of the Suez Canal. They give the Suez Canal projects to an international company, which is Dar Al Handasa, and they going to introduce a lot of separate projects. Mm-hmm. Those by themselves is a sector. Those by themselves will really change the GDP of Egypt. Their objectives, I think they announced it, they want $80 billion for investment and about 300 billion Egyptian pounds. I think the objectives are not very high. I think the number of projects introducing are there. And I can tell you as a businessman, and I hear this is not really my own opinion, this is my foreign partners everywhere who invest in Egypt, who stayed in Egypt or studied Egypt. Egypt is one of the best countries in the world you can make a profit. Everybody knows that. We can talk about the problems, but in the end, any businessman want to make a profit. A foreign businessman will not come to Egypt for the sake of Egypt. You know, we can say that in the media, but actually he makes a business because there are an opportunity. Yes. There are markets, and in the end he will make a profits. He's going to invest that amount of money. In the end, he's making a lot of interest every year, a lot of profits every year. Why we have a lot of profits in Egypt? Because we have a big market. We have over 90 million people, and this 90 million people, a big market right today, when the standard of living or the cost, the income is very low. The average income of Egyptians are very low relatively to any place in the world. Just imagine Egypt after a few years if we double this. The average income of Egyptian capita now is around $2,200. Just imagine if it's 5,000. That means the market will absorb double whatever now. Any investor will come to Egypt, they know that Egypt import goods worth of $70 billion and export for 25 only. There are a big gap, 50 billion. We have to really close that gap. How are we going to close that gap? Yes. By having investors here, by producing. Number one, to decrease the importations. Number two, to increase the exportations. Everybody knows that. But they really come with good studies, with good feasibility, with good projects. And all what we need, and I think the government has repeatedly said that, to give them security, secure. If you come and invest your money for 20 years, for 30 years, you are safe. Not only secure, but you are safe. We will not really nationalize your money, we will not do this, we will not increase the taxes. Our regulations, our rules will stay until this project is finished, until we finish the terminations of the contract. So I think they're doing a good job, and that's why I am optimistic, and I feel very strongly this summits will be very successful.
Dr. Khouli, yes, if you have comments on that, and how do you see the management, the strategies in of the country concerning this?
Absolutely, I totally agree with my colleague here. I'm very optimistic also. Let me confirm, the summit will take place on March 13, and
which is a Friday, Friday the 13th.
Yes, it's Friday the 13th, which is good luck.
Yes, for us.
Okay. You have any other opinion?
No. Okay. I'm just repeating sometimes you like some ideas, so some people just don't get it. But yeah, of course, good luck.
We go against all odds, by the way, which is, it's Friday the 13th.
Turning bad luck into good luck.
Absolutely.
Here, this is what's happening, exactly.
And the logo for the conference, it's simply the key to the future. And that is a logo which is, we have the key for business opportunity for the whole world.
Yes.
That is the logo of the conference. As my colleagues mentioned, stability, safety, it is two fundamental components for any foreign direct investment to come to your country.
Of course.
Even with the safety issue, but we are still Egypt, we're still a stable country, we're still attractive for business investor or foreign investor. You mentioned, do we really have goals? Yes, we have goals. The leadership have goals, and they have a vision. And when they set for this conference, there is thousands of hours from very good professional people dedicated to make this conference successful. over 2,000 invitation. People will attend this conference. Many of heads of states will attend this conference. Over 150 mega business people or multinational company will come to this conference. That is a good news. So we'll have the stage for business opportunity here in Egypt in this conference. So what's our homework? For the people of Egypt, they have to stay behind the success of this conference. For the media, I was in the government summit in Dubai. The whole media, the whole people, they speak the language of the conference. So people, they should support media, they should support the conference, the summit. Not talking about the negative. Negative will lead to more negative. Let's be optimistic. Let's talk about positive, where we have IMF will come, people from the World Bank will come, or ranking association will come to this conference. Heads of state will come to this conference. Multinational, big multinational organization, world organization will come to this conference. I believe that's opportunity. So let's take the threats aside for 1 week only. I will tell the media, just take a break. Start to talk about Egypt, and start to talk about the future of Egypt, and start to talk about the development of Egypt. As my colleagues mentioned, more business, it means more income, more growth for our economic development, more growth for the return for our people, more quality of life, and that's very important. So media should really focus on that, the success of the conference. Instead of talking about negative, I always believe
now.
Negative leads to negative.
Yes.
So stop for 1 week.
Be positive for 1 week. Change your attitude.
Take a break.
Yes.
But we have a vision. He has set goals, and it's very important for the sustainability of the Egyptian economic system. And this conference, I believe, it's a great opportunity, and we should all participate in the journey for success of this conference.
Yes.
So be positive, that's the message.
Yeah.
Also, my colleagues mentioned regarding the capability of Egyptian people. We have the will, and when there is a will, there is a drive. We have the human resources, which I count a lot on our people. But we should develop our human resource. We were talking before this, we go on air about the missing link in the development of Egyptian economy. It's the lack of management. We should really talk about economy. We should talk about management. We should talk about developing our human resources to meet the future project in Egypt. We need to build more competency. We need to build more skills in order to meet the requirement of new investment.
Yes, we do have less than a minute, and then.
Okay. Now I just want to add just a few words here.
Please do.
Actually, I lived and worked in a lot of different countries in the world. There are no countries in the world, including the United States, which I lived a lot of years, they all have a lot of problems.
Yes.
Believe me, a lot of problems. But they don't talk about every problem in the media and fight each other.
Yes.
They work very hard to resolve it quietly in a closed room.
Yes.
And that's what we should be doing. We should not deny the problems.
Yes.
But we should work very hard to resolve it. I think we have the brain
and not to publicize it all the time.
But let's forget about really all the focusing in all the problems in the media, and everyone not even in this district at all getting involved and depress them. No, I think This is really my advice to everybody and to the media. Please, let's live in peace. Let's work hard. Let's close our rooms on ourselves. Let's correct our mistakes and drive positively. I think Egyptians are great people. They prove that. We see millions of Egyptians everywhere in the world, and they're all successful. They are leaders, chairmen, deans of universities,
yes.
chairmen. They take all the posts in the world. Why they are successful there, and when we are together, something happens. I think we should. We just need a good environment, and I believe we started to have a good environment. We should drive to the success, and we will reach it very soon.
Dr. Hassan Shafai, thank you very much for being with us. And thank you very much, Professor Said Al-Khoury, for being with us here. And we thank our viewers. But now I have to go to my colleague, Sally Lamloum, for the news latest on the Egyptian wars.
Thank you very much, Nermeen. And dear viewers, hello and welcome to our weekly review for the Egyptian economy, stock market, and the prices of